It turns out the top choice to replace Tim Miles was sitting right next to him on the Bison bench. First question, big news in the offseason. Everybody wants to know, is Johan Santana going to be back? And as a guy who catches him, I'm sure you'd like to have him. All right, and joining me live on set now, NDSU head men's basketball coach Saul Phillips. Coach, how does that title feel?
Yeah, delighted.
And in Vikings news, hi there and welcome to Football Frenzy. Well, Friday nights are normally reserved for high school football, but tonight we lead off with college. The fourth-ranked Fighting Sioux playing their season opener against brand new NCC opponent Central Washington. The Cubs will not win the World Series. Of course, heartache is nothing new to Cubs fans. Welcome to Fox Sports. There are very few things in life that are perfect. The 1972 Dolphins, Fabio's hair, and possibly Tom Brady's girlfriend. Now, you probably wouldn't think to put the Kansas City Royals in that category, but through the first 3 games of the season, the Royals are a perfect 3-0. I don't think that's what Dr. Naismith had in mind when he invented basketball, that's for sure. Are you happy that your team was able to get to the free throw line? 51 free throws. You got to like that aggressiveness.
Well, that's one thing.
All right, guys, final night of the high school football regular season. Week 9, this is what we've been preparing all season for. This is a push for the playoffs. Everybody ready? Yeah. Let's go out there and do this. Shoot good highlights. It's Class A tournament time in North Dakota. Hi there and welcome to Fox Sports. I'm Scott Heinle. March Madness. It's a time where anything can and usually does happen. And already in day 1 of the tournament, a couple of top seeds on both the boys and girls sides have been knocked off. We lead off with number 1 boys seed from the East, Devils Lake against Minot. Jordan Mertens misses, but like a good neighbor, BJ Mertens is there. Minot up 23 at the half, though, and they're not afraid to push the tempo. Zach LG on the break, doing it and doing it well. LG pours in 30, and Minot knocks off the EDC champ. Dickinson and West Fargo in the day's second quarter final. First half, Packers Mr. Do-It-All Everything. Tanner Farkas splitting the defenders. Count it, and the foul. I'll tell you what, that kid is a highlight waiting to happen. West Fargo playing catch-up from the get-go. Possible Bison walk-on take kick. 2 of his game-high 32, and the Midgets, by the way, that's got to be the worst nickname in basketball, get a 63-53 win. Next up, Bismarck and Fargo South. Cue the highlights. A great game here. Second half, Bismarck's Ben Patterson steals the inbounds pass and goes all the way for the hoop. Demons up 5, less than a minute to go. South's Ismail Kareem game to the challenge, knocking down a clutch 3. And hey, South still alive. You got to believe this time of year, no doubt. And then 4 seconds to go, South one last chance. Kareem a runner, but it was not meant to be. Heartbreak, 63-60, Bismarck wins. All right, the Fargo South girls came in today's tournament on a roll. The EDC tournament champs had won 11 of their last 13. Meanwhile, Jamestown is the only team in the field with a losing record, so South figured to have an easy time of it against the Blue Jays, right? Wrong. Tied at the half, Blue Jays come out on a 19-6 run. Claycy Olsen, the only 3 of the entire game, and it's a 13-point lead. Bruins chipping away. Kristen Arnstadt, and somebody get on her or she'll burn you every time. But Jamestown double up South in the second. Sophomore Megan Dale at game-high 20, 54-39. Blue Jays with the upset. That set the stage for another wild game between Bismarck and Devils Lake. Bismarck rolling in the first. Carly Gilbertson, the hook shot in the lane. 2 of her 19. Firebirds answer by who else? Ashley Pravatsky. We've seen it from her how many times? And she had 25 today. Bismarck up 12 at the half. Devils cut it to 1. 10 seconds to go. Ashley Burtness clutch. She gets the roll. And how about the comeback? Devils Lake 70-68. Well, we turn our attention to North Dakota 9-man and we bring in our man, Scott Swanson.
Each person who runs a marathon has a reason. Alicia Olberg's reason is 13 years in the making, and her source of inspiration is her brother Chris.
I was in the Special Olympics, won all these medals, and always had a smile on his face, so I kind of wanted to be like that.
Alicia ran cross country, and Chris, stricken with muscular dystrophy, was her biggest fan.
Started winning these medals, and I always brought him home, and the first thing I did was I showed him.
But there's one medal Chris never got to see.
It was the best I'd ever done. So I was so excited, I couldn't wait to get home to see my brother and show him my medal, and well, he ended up dying that night.
Suddenly, Alicia's reason for running was gone.
I'd been in a couple races later on that month or whatever, but it wasn't the same, and so I just ended up quitting. And
Alicia hasn't run in a race since, but now, more than a decade later, she's found the courage to run again, thanks to a promise she made to her brother.
And when we were in the hospital, he was lying in the bed or whatever, I kind of told myself and said kind of underneath my breath, nobody could hear me, and said, well, I'm going to run a race and win one for you.
Saturday, Alicia runs in the half marathon in memory of her brother. It's 13.1 miles. That's been 13 years in the making.
Next time, it's for real. Hi there and welcome to Fox Sports. The FM Redhawks are just 2 days away from their season opener. Tonight, it's the final exhibition game of the spring and a final chance for players to prove they deserve a spot on the roster.
Big Fish.
It's Monday and it's time to pay tribute to Bob Barker, whose final show on The Price is Right airs Friday. After 35 years, Barker has built the game show into arguably the biggest force of daytime television. In comparison, the Catch of the Week is only in its 4th year, and instead of telling guests to come on down, we just have a guy with a deep voice say Big Fish. By the way, no word yet on whether or not these fish have been spayed or neutered. Opening day here, White Sox and Tigers scheduled to go off in about an hour or so, but judging by the thunder and rain, I don't know if that's going to happen. And Debbie and Ray here, they're diehards in the front row. What are you guys thinking?
White Sox.
Hey, we clearly dominated that snowball fight. It wasn't even close. It's over, by the way. That's a wrap.